all right, here's one member explaining his intention to vote no on raising the debt ceiling. Because this massive accumulation of debt was predicted, because it was foreseeable, because it was unnecessary, because it was the result of willful and reckless disregard for the warnings that were given and for the fundamentals of economic management.
So I don't know who that lawmaker is.
Well, let me tell you. It was President Joe Biden.
Oh, okay.
Back in 2006.
So, look.
But does he have a point? Because Republicans say that's their position now.
No, the Republicans' position is that they are threatening to default in order to get what they want. And the debt ceiling should never be used as that kind of a threat. It is just antithetical to anything this president stands for.
Well, is that what President Biden was doing when he said this in 2006 and voted no?
No, in 2006...
In 2004.
This was in 2006. Let me make this point. In 2006, do you remember a debt ceiling debate that was anywhere close to as heated as this one?
He said this, so I will just say what he said on Friday, which is that the state of the economy is strong.
You mentioned how the president said Friday that the state of the economy is strong. We had a poll out over the weekend, ABC News, that found that 41% of Americans say they're worse off financially now than before this president took office. How do you explain the disconnect there of why this administration's message about the strong economy is not getting through?
Right. So I think the poll that you just cited is actually consistent. So about 2/3 of Americans say that their circumstances are better than before. Say it either way. That is in part reflected in the data that you're saying is that more Americans believe they're in a better economic position in terms of their own balance sheet.
And just to clarify on the stat that was just cited, it's only 16% of those in the poll believe they're financially better off than when Biden entered the office. 42% feel about the same. So just to clarify, it's only 16% are feeling better off. Yeah. So when do people start feeling? More people start feeling better off about the financial future of the country.
Well, look, I think that I don't want to. I don't want to repeat myself. Only to say we have more work to do.
The military gauged the different risks and the different benefits of different approaches, made the decisions that they did, brought this thing down without incident.
Right, but the presumption has got to be that the Chinese were able to gather intelligence hovering over the United States for day after day, especially over some of these sensitive sites.
I'm sure there's a similar presumption about what spy satellites do. That is well outside of my lane. I'm just glad that nobody was hurt as this thing came down.
Do you think, though, if he had been more transparent about this classified document situation earlier, that he might be in a better place?
Coulda, woulda, shoulda is not the strategic direction or focus of this administration. There's too much on the line. There's too much to do.
What they expect us to do is to earn our pay as members of the House and Senate, to work hard to come up with a reasonable approach, and to be willing to give a little. It's the only way you reach a compromise. Compromise is the nature of this political process. And those who condemn it, and there are some who do, say never give up, stick to your principles, never change. We're not going to get a solution. We've got to be willing to work together to give and get this done. There will be those on the right and on the left who will be critical of this, and I can understand their thinking. It doesn't serve either side particularly well. It is a compromise and a consensus. I think of all the people that contacted my office from Illinois and beyond during the last several weeks, begging us to do something, not to let this economy fail, to work together and compromise and find a way to resolve our differences. I think that this is a reasonable attempt to do that. I will support it with some misgivings, but will support it, believing that it gives to us the way to get through this crisis and to move to a better place where we deal with this deficit and debt in a responsible, bipartisan manner.
It is time for Congress to put the American people first, work together to find a solution, and put partisan bickering behind us. Our nation has worked too hard to put us on the path to recovery. Mr. Speaker, it is time to move forward. The American people expect Congress to do its job. The CBC stands ready to work with our colleagues to raise the debt ceiling, reject the politics of brinksmanship, and get our economic house in order.